Hi, my name is Michelle Atias, and today I wanted to talk about stories. The stories that we have in our life that keep us exactly where we are, simply because it informs us who we can and can't become. Some of these stories have emerged from an early stage in our lives. We might have heard a dialogue, a narrative. We might have developed some beliefs that create a story that becomes locked in. And then we live through it as we become adults. And so I wanted to talk about some of this today because I feel it's such a relevant subject. I have so many clients who come to me to have coaching who are so entrenched in their stories, and they're so attached to these stories as well. And often these stories are powering who we are, who we can become. They become that engine in which we lead our lives. So I had a client who came to me for coaching, and he had a story that he had to only go towards intellectual pursuits. And this was because when he was very young, he heard his parent talk about somebody who was creative, and he was talking about that person in a really derogatory way. So my client picked up from this that creative was bad, and he could only become worthy if he was intellectual or if he was always pursuing academia. So what he did was he took on more information, he did more courses, he took on more degrees, and he was always taking up information, always going on different courses and programs. But the problem was he wasn't really happy. He wasn't having a lot of fun. And so what I asked him was, who would you be without that story? Now, when I asked him that, his whole body language changed. He became lighter. He felt different, and he told me how what he really loved was poetry, writing. He had actually taken up some drama classes and some acting classes at some point, and he had had so much fun with that, but he was almost ashamed to share that with me. And so we began to look at ways that he could push past that story, create a different narrative, a different dialogue, a different way of being, and really create a different story about something that was really true about him. And here's the thing, is that sometimes we pick up the narrative from our parents, our grandparents, people that we hear around us, and it tells us and it informs us what we can and can't become. And then we live through that for the rest of our lives. And unfortunately, what that starts to become is that you start to live through somebody else's story, not really your own. So ask yourself today, who would you be without your story? What could be possible for you? Because what I love about this is that once I step out of that story, either with clients or even at times with myself, I begin to create a different dialogue, narrative. I begin to create new possibilities, something that I hadn't thought of before. You know, when you're entrenched in your story, that's all you can see. And when you start looking at something that could be possible outside of that, everything opens up and it becomes expansive as well. So ask that to yourself today. I mean, if your stories currently are serving you, that's great. But if they're not serving you, imagine a different way of being. Imagine what that would do for you. So ask yourself that question today. And if you'd like to feed back to me underneath this video, that'd be great. Or send me a LinkedIn message and let me know what stories you've got and what you've stepped out of. And if you want to share this, that would also be great. Any connections or networks you feel would really benefit from hearing this, that would be great too. So thanks for listening and have a great day. Thank you.